Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where in the world you are, and of course, what time of day or night it is either. Welcome to the podcast Up on the Edge with Al and Owen. I'm your host, Alan Nield, Big Al, or just Al, whatever you want to call me. And each week, I'm going to be joined by regular co-host Owen Sherratt and other special guests along the way too. Right, let's get right into it. This is the podcast Up on the Edge. And, yeah, rock and roll, baby.
This is it. Let's go to full screen.
I wonder who we've got here today. Somebody's trying to get in.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. Oh,
his name's popped up.
Hey, not surely. Not the Simon Wood with no camera.
Hang on.
Yes, chef. There you go.
Hey! How are you, mate?
I'm all right. Are you?
Yeah, all good. This is Owen, by the way. Have you met Owen before?
I think we met. I'm pretty sure we have.
I think we have him passing at the Rev one time, but It was only very briefly.
Yeah. I'm sure we have. Yeah.
Makes a massive change from meeting him up at Dovestones Reservoir while he's in his shorts and lycra and all that, and he's
running about like a lunatic.
Yeah. How are you coping with this? Hey, look at that. He's got his wine.
I know, yeah.
Chink, chink. There you go.
Cheers.
Oh.
I was going to dig out a single malt myself, but, you know, it's too early in the night for me. God, if I start drinking that now, I'll be asleep by about 7:30.
That's the idea.
Yeah. How's it all going then?
It's all right. You know, it's challenging the same as like anyone else that works in hospitality has been royally done over, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can put it. You know, we haven't had a leg to stand on. Some of us have had support, some of us haven't. My restaurant falls into that category. I've seen all sides of it throughout the pandemic. I've got 3 restaurants. Well, I had 3 restaurants at the start. I've got 2 now. So I've lost one. I've got one that was in tier 2 for a long time, and I've got one that's in tier 3 in Manchester and has been for the vast majority. So I've got a balanced opinion on what it's done to hospitality without any bias in any one direction, because I've kind of done it all. Pretty sure I was the first chef in the country to do fine dining home delivery. The meal kits, we did it a couple of weeks after lockdown. We were either brave or stupid. I still can't decide which one, if I'm honest. Probably both. But you know what? It's kept us afloat. And it means that no matter what, at the end of this, my restaurants in Manchester and Cheltenham will be there. And to get to that point, you know, what did Meatloaf say? 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're working on at the minute.
Well, speaking of Meatloaf, you're into your music as well, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm missing gigs so much. It's the one thing that everything else that's going on, it's been difficult, don't get me wrong. There's been tantrums, there's been throwing things, there's been all kinds going on all the way throughout lockdown. Too much wine, too much running, too many press ups, you name it. It's all happened. But missing gigs has been one of the things that's really, really got to me.
Yeah.
Dying to go to the Apollo and watch
seriously loud music. Yeah. I mean, I've played in bands for years, and we did a gig on the last day of September at Lee's Live Lounge, and it was a great venue, great acoustics. Everything was all nice and socially distanced and one thing and another. And 3 members of the band, the sound engineer, 2 members of the audience all came out of it with COVID, and it nearly saw me off. You know, so you just got to be dead careful, mate. And we were so careful with it. It was ridiculous. And you know, people, dare I say this, I'm probably going to get a lot of repercussions for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, there's people out there that believe in God, and you know, somebody or something, a power that you can't see, you can't feel, you can't touch, and yet they deny the fact that there is a virus knocking about. You know, and all I can say is if only they actually read a book when they were a kid, similar to reading the Bible, you know, we might not be in the situation that we're in right now, when people might just behave themselves a little bit more.
I think that's key, isn't it? It's about people being sensible. And don't get me wrong, we've all had a guts full of sitting in. I mean, I'm going to go back to my industry because it's where my expertise is. But, you know, in hospitality, without any evidence at all, 2% of cases linked back to hospitality. And don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid either. I know that if you're in the pub at 3 a.m. and there's a good song come on and you've had 8 pints or a bottle or whatever, you're going to come together.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be treated the way as a hotel, for example, or a fine dining restaurant, or a tapas bar, or a cafe that runs out of a farm shop. They're all very different. So, like you say about what people believe in and what they understand, it's all about people's perspective, isn't it? And everyone's is a little bit different, but the bottom line is, no matter what, there's some basic rules that we all have to follow. And everyone knows what they are now, regardless of what you think of the government, everyone knows what they are. And if we can do that safely, then, you know, with the vaccine and with everything else, we can crack on doing what we want to do. And, you know, people will probably, like you just said there, you're worried about what people might say. Well, people say stuff to me all the time. It doesn't matter what you're doing, good, bad or ugly. Someone's got an opinion.
Yeah, we found that on Twitter, haven't we?
Yeah,
over the weekend?
we have. Yeah, we've actually been stalking people that have been stalking you.
It's mental, isn't it? Have you read some of the stuff that I've been called?
Oh, I tell you what, it just.
Do you know that Owen Shearer and his baseball bat are legendary around Manchester, and he was seriously queued up for having a chat with a few people over comments that were put.
Yeah, it's crazy because at the end of the day, I mean, you're putting yourself out there. You try to give a bit of advice and help people that, like you put on one of your replies, that haven't got as much as other people. Yeah. And, you know, you're genuinely doing your best. And I've got to admit, some of them recipes there, and we're discussing this, it'd be ideal to put in like a caravan and camping cookbook. Yeah. Because when you've not got all the utilities of a glorious kitchen and stuff like that, or space to prepare, then you know, that's a good idea, that, Simon.
Do you see what he's doing there, Simon? He's trying to tap you up here for a bit of a, you know, hey, we can do this together. Yeah. Back in the
Yeah, you know. I've got a motorhome, mate. Yeah, no problem.
we were saying we could do a Fred, Gino, and what was the other guy called? The one that gobs off a lot?
Gordon.
There you go, yeah. So we could do one of those and just film it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then with a little bit of, you know, like Top Gear sort of mixed in, where the two bigger ones pick on the little one. You know what I mean?
I thought we were going to have a race in a motorhome then.
Say that again, sorry?
I thought we were going to have a race in a motorhome then. I got excited. I can imagine it like one of the challenges with the pots and pans. Me knocking up and making an egg sandwich. You're going around the Nürburgring.
That'd be good. I could get on that quickly. Yeah.
Do you know what? We'd make a million out of that one, wouldn't we?
Oh,
no.
Only once, though. I'm not sure I'd see to the end of it.
But yeah, I mean, some of the ideas you come up with. I mean, I know there was the one with the beans and the eggs, and I was watching the football with our kid last night, and he said, I'm going to give that a try. He said, because I was just chatting with him, I told him, like, we've got the recording the podcast tonight, and he said, I like the look of that one with the beans and the eggs. You know, he said, I'm going to give that a...
That's the dish that's probably the worst comment I got at the weekend from Alan What's-his-face. I can't remember his name. I don't.
Yeah.
I can. I remember it perfectly.
Yeah. And do you know what? Right, it's kind of based on a classic huevos rancheros. It's a famous dish, like all across Spain and the Mediterranean, and no different. And do you know what? It's cheap. It probably costs about like 40p a portion, if that.
Really?
And if you get a couple of slices of bread, you can feed a family of 8 for less than £4.
Do you know when you do your eggs?
More importantly, you can do it at breakfast, you can do it at lunch, or you can do it at dinner or tea or whatever you want to call it. But that one thing, and it's not fancy and it's not flash, it doesn't even look pretty, but it tastes all right, and it gets you through the day, doesn't it? At whatever time you're in.
Yeah, you get the protein down your neck, you get a bit of carbs down your neck, you know, it's just what you need, a bit of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nutritionally balanced meal.
Yeah.
That's something that people just don't understand.
How did you come up with this then? You know, the idea of getting on social media And you know, I get the whole feeding families for 30 bit. And then you've sort of seen the food parcels, I'm guessing, and gone, do you know what? That's appalling. We can do better than that.
It wasn't. Do you know what? Yeah, you're right. Completely right. You know, second Marcus Rashford's opinion, simply not good enough, and it's dead on that. It's not good enough. But when you look at what's in that box and some of the comments that people are saying, I've been sent this. What am I supposed to do with that? And I'm, you know, even the terrible boxes that were there, with a little bit of expertise or a little bit of ingenuity, you could find, well, all right, it's not the amount of food that I should be getting, but I can get this out of it.
Yeah.
They didn't have that to fall back on, and that's where it lets itself down. And you know,
sorry, I was going to say, with regards to the amount of food that's been given out in these parcels, and this is purely the opinion that I'm looking for you from now. You know, half a pepper or half a tomato in some instances.
You see that? Half a green pepper.
It's ridiculous.
Who stands there, right, and looks at a little tiny green pepper and goes, "I can have half of that," and takes the time to half it, wrap it up, and put it in a box. If any of us were working in that, wherever it was done, I'd have been like, yeah,
full pepper. Have two.
Yeah.
I was listening to a guy being interviewed. Sorry.
I made a point with Mike Sweeney today, and that green pepper, you've got to think where this food's going. And yeah, all right, and there's all kinds of analogies you can use, but this is going to feed kids. Kids are fussy eaters. It don't matter what you say. Eat what you're given. Beggars can't be choosers. Be as off the scale as whatever you want. Have you ever tried to get a kid to eat a green pepper? There's probably 1 in 10 that will. There is. It's the worst one. There's no sugar in it. There's nothing. They're all right cooked with black bean sauce or whatever you want to do, or salt and pepper chips, because everything else carries it through. Yeah. But on its own, they look at you. You just can't do it. It's like
let me point something out to you. So I'm 52-year-old next week, right? Mm-hmm. You won't get a green pepper down my neck. You won't get broccoli down my neck.
Oh, I love broccoli.
Really?
Oh yeah, it makes me trump a little bit, but I love a bit of broccoli. I love sprouts. And the worst thing is, you only ever get sprouts at Christmas normally. So I mentioned to Mum, and by the way, Simon, Mum lives with me. She come to stay for a couple of months. We're on to the 14th year now. And so I mentioned before Christmas, I can't understand why we don't have sprouts at Christmas. Got all the run-ups at Christmas because I love them. And I've had them about 3 times a week now since Christmas.
All because you mentioned them.
But they're great.
It comes down to like knowing the know-how, doesn't it? The seasonal availability. If it's in season, it's plentiful. Therefore, you get the best price when you buy it from the supermarket. And if you can look in supermarkets, and I think you can get, a kilo of carrots, a kilo of sprouts, 2 kilos of potatoes, and whatever it is, a head of broccoli and a head of cauliflower, and all that will cost you less than £3, maybe £4 at a push, and that's your veg for the week now.
Yeah.
And if you've got 6 people, you can make that stretch one way or another, and you can do it all kinds of different ways. It doesn't have to be boiled to death, insipid, wet. With a little, I know that the people that we're talking about might not have access to different things, but a little bit of curry powder or a little bit of chili or paprika or whatever it is, things that we all look in our cupboard and go, well, it's there.
Yeah,
and then
covered in dust.
I've noticed this when I've been writing these recipes, and I'm thinking, but will they have that? And I'm talking I'm not talking about like something like truffle or foie gras or whatever it is. I'm talking about an onion.
Yeah.
And I genuinely sat there thinking, I'm making a chickpea curry, and every curry starts with an onion, no matter what. You think about any cuisine you've had, starts with an onion.
Yeah, of course it does.
Chili, curry, Chinese, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It starts with an onion. And then I'm thinking, well, they can't get fresh produce from food banks, very rarely anyway. It's all tinned or dried
stuff.
Yeah. So then you start to write recipes that are all tinned ingredients, and all of a sudden you're hamstrung completely. So you start to think about, and you start to think that the way the people that you're trying to help are thinking, And on Friday, I had a Damascus moment, and I was like, and I know what I can do. I can do corned beef tater ash.
I know.
So I ran over the road to Sainsbury's from the restaurant, and I bought what I needed, and it cost me about £5.60. And I made it in about 3 minutes without a word of a lie. It took me about 3 minutes to make it. I just brought everything to the boil on the stove and then put it on a plate. It was all out of a tin, no airs and graces, no nothing. And it tasted fantastic. You know, it was a really good, wholesome, nutritionally balanced, enjoyable meal.
Well, it's a bag of potatoes. It's a tin of corned beef.
I got tinned potatoes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Every item, bar the bisto which I used, was out of a tin.
You see, we put gravy granules in, and we also put just a splash of brown sauce as well, just to give it that little bit of a kick.
Yeah, but when you're writing these recipes for people that can't afford whatever it is, like the onion, have they got brown sauce in the cupboard? Because the minute I put it on a recipe, and then they're going to look at it and go, well, it says onion optional, brown sauce if you've got it.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
And it's so difficult as a chef to limit yourself and put yourself in the shoes of someone who, let's be honest here, something that's not talked about at all is fuel poverty. You've got food poverty. We're all talking about that. But what if they haven't got a fibre or the electric's on emergency? And you know, whatever it is.
Do you know, it's ironic you should say that, because I had a guy come into my shop yesterday who he's in a rented house, and something had happened to the boiler. So the boiler's not working, and he's got 2 babies. He's got twin kids. So he's got no central heating. He's got no hot water. And the letting agency had said, right, okay, well, we can't get out to you today. We can't get the plumber out to you today to get this fixed. So if you go and get a couple of heaters from, the company that I work for, then we'll pay for them, but you've got £50. That's it. So he inadvertently orders the wrong item or something like that. And then the problem that we've got is if we try to put that back on his card, it's going to take 3 days, up to 3 days. Usually it's a couple of days, but up to 3 days to go back on his card. He didn't have any more money to sort of redo the process and go to the other shop where he'd ordered the stuff from. So I ended up driving down myself and picking him up myself, so that he could get his kids warm and one thing. Not because I felt bad about the situation. He'd put himself in that situation because he'd pressed the wrong button. He's got fat fingers or whatever.
You'll be like me then. You'll be thinking about he's stressed, he's worried, his kids are cold.
That's
it.
Doing.
And you're in a position to do something.
That's it. And I don't understand why these companies, which, let's be honest, they're not catering companies. These are distribution companies that are cutting up food, an onion or a pepper or whatever, cut it in half. Put the bloody pepper in there. Some of these food parcels have got 2 potatoes, right? And there was a guy, I was listening to Radio 4 the other day, and he was a small grower that supplied one of the big supermarkets, restaurants like yourself have, companies like that. And he was saying that the big bags of potatoes, which I don't know, I still work in pounds, mate. So I think it was about £15 bag of potatoes they are, or something like that.
Yeah, like 20 kilos. Yeah.
Right. I think he said it's either £2.50 or £3 he charges for that bag that's probably got 50 spuds in it.
Yeah.
2 potatoes that were put in those food parcels.
Well, then I understand from an operational perspective what it takes to have someone that comes in, has to wear PPE, gets the board out, gets the knives out, picks out the right potatoes that are the right size, the right peppers, the right colour, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then portions that, and then has to stand there and wrap it up, and then has to move it. Surely it's far quicker to take the hit, and it's probably more like cost effective. Get rid of the person chopping it with all his PPE and messing around. Respectfully, he can go and do something else. What he can do is pick that whole thing up and put it in a bag.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll cost less money to give him the whole thing. So even though I've still got a question. One pepper, we're talking about half a pepper, and we're trying to get something good out of it by putting one in. What are we talking about? If you're going to put peppers in, give them some peppers.
Yeah.
They cost nothing. Give them a little leaflet in there about how to grow the seeds that are inside the peppers, because then you can get another 500 out of them. You know, there's something that can be done with a bit of ingenuity, and you can educate people how to cook, how to grow their own veg. You can do it in a window box. You can do it in the kitchen. You can do it in a Wellington boot. You can do it in whatever you want. But there's loads of stuff that can be done without putting on people.
I've just had one of them light bulb moments. I'm sorry, I know you keep trying to say things and I keep jumping in, but
it's not. I'm used to it.
I've just had a light bulb moment because I've got a friend, two friends of mine, the two Sues, and they used to live in Bolton. They've actually moved down to the Midlands now, but they've set up this company it's called something like the Hydro Veg Company. I'll find out what it is and I'll let you know. You need to talk to them, because what they've done is these two middle-aged ladies, I'm going to say middle-aged, they've invented this water-based system that allows you to grow vegetables, plants, flowers, whatever you want, in a backyard, in a back garden, on the balcony of an apartment, and it's fantastic. And it's basically a series of tubes that's got water flowing from the top to the bottom. You just turn the tap on once a day or whatever, and it just grows away. It's brilliant. It's cheap, and it's something that, you know, maybe these families could utilize right now. And you know, the seeds it was when he said the seeds from the pepper, and it was just like, there we go.
But everyone's homeschooling. Tomorrow I've got my little girl in the next room, Charlotte. She's in there watching Harry Potter. We're going to have steak and eggs for tea.
Yeah.
Tomorrow she's going to come in and do her schoolwork, and you know, we're homeschooling. She's going to do it in the restaurant while I crack on and do what I need to do. Right. And then she's going to put some chef whites on an apron and come in the kitchen.
Really?
And I'm going to teach her. Yeah, last week she came in and she worked on the pastry section, and she learned how to make Turkish delight. We learned how to make poached eggs. We did all kinds of different things. With like the chefs that have got working, it's all safe and it's all whatever. But if we're homeschooling, then why can't we teach kids how to grow their own veg?
Yeah.
Or like cook a recipe. I'm sending these recipes out that are like the potato cake recipe. That's like the website's been launched today for everyone. There's a potato cake recipe. You can use leftover mash. You can use new mash. If you haven't, you know, if you've got roast potatoes you haven't finished, you can just push them through a sieve and you can use that. From that one base recipe, it's 500 grams of mashed potato, 100 grams of flour, 1 egg. That's it. From that, you can make potato cakes, which can go great with beans and eggs for breakfast. You can then make some gnocchi, which you can put in a tin of tomatoes. Same recipe. Yeah, you can make them with tin of tomatoes. You can get the tomatoes with like herbs in. You could put the gnocchi in a tub of, I'm going to say Philadelphia, but let's use the smart price or whatever it is alternative with some herbs in. Melt that in a pan, boil your gnocchi, exactly the same recipe, doesn't matter what you do. Put it in the sauce, melt it down, you've got cheesy gnocchi there.
What's gnocchi? I haven't got a clue what gnocchi is.
It's a potato dumpling, it's an Italian staple.
Right.
Yeah. But again, like you say there, people don't have this vast knowledge of food and they won't understand it, but it's really tasty. You know, if you go, it's just like a dumpling. If you have a beef stew dumplings, but the little tiny ones that are wrapped in cheese sauce or whatever, and they're so easy to make with leftover stuff, and they go so far. But that same recipe then, if you take that mashed potato mixed with the flour and the egg, and then open a tin of tuna and mix it through it, and then fry it in a pan, you've got fish cakes.
Now you see, my mother-in-law gets hold of me today. She says, "You're interviewing Simon Wood later on, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She says, "Well, I've had some of his pasties delivered to my house today that were made by somebody else, but it's Simon's recipe. So I'm guessing you've put some recipe for homemade pasties."
I don't know if I've done a pasty. I think I've done a meat pie, plate pie, because my grandma used to make
plate pie. Oh, I just love them.
Is it
homemade chips?
When you say a plate pie, are we talking a meat and potato? We're talking cheese and onion. What is it?
No, dead simple. Nothing flash. It's mincemeat and onion. in
Yeah.
pastry. That's
Really?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not very deep or thick. It's just the level of a plate.
Yeah. It's as deep as your dinner plate goes.
Yeah.
With a lid on top. That's it.
It's brilliant.
Like a Fray Bentos kind of thing. But,
I mean,
oh, look at you both. What you both been like that with me for? I was trying to be nice then.
One of them was in the food boxes that I saw.
What are you laughing at?
With the price of a Fray Bentos pie, right? You could make the pie, buy the veg, buy the potatoes, make the chips, and you could make it last 3 days.
Yeah, but surely I get what you're saying, but you're a master chef. I burn salad, Simon.
You can't have salad in the box. It's
all right.
Yeah.
But,
do you know what season as well now?
I do get what you're saying about making the pie and things like that. I do understand that. But when you look at the convenience stuff that is available, yeah, all right, you can make your own pastry if you want. But you know what? You can get a roll of pastry as well. And you can just fry the mince and onion off in a pan and put the pastry in the oven and put a lid on top. And there's little different ways to help people make their own. And let's be honest, no one should be going out extravagantly or going wherever. You've got your kids at home. You haven't got many ingredients. You need to pass the time because, they can't just be sat in front of a computer all day if they've got one and lucky to have one, or a mobile or whatever it is. And you've got to find a certain set of things that you can teach them to do. And I'm not being funny. There's no one in this land, the world, no matter what it is, that doesn't need to know how to cook themselves something to eat. There isn't. Not one person. Eventually, you're going to be hungry.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, it's like when I was at school, started secondary school, the first 3 years, you did like 6 months of cookery and stuff like that, the basics. Then you did 6 months of needlecraft in your first year. Yeah. And it's just, honestly, just the basics.
I did the same, and I can still sew.
Yeah. I can't see to put the thread through the needle, though. As you get older, Simon, it's when you get to my age, son.
Yeah, I can still do it, and I remember.
Yeah.
And I sound like an old fart, whatever it is. I'm a granddad now, so I'm allowed to be.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can use a washing machine. I know how to pay my bills. I can cook. I can clean. I can sew. I'm not so sure so many of today's kids can.
No.
Or that they think they should be able to know.
Yeah. See, that's the trouble. They don't seem to be learning life skills. And that's what these are. They're just life skills.
Yeah.
But it's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have them, obviously, we're both in business, and all three of us are in business. And the thing is, the younger the person that you bring on these days, the more they're dragging the feet while they're walking. And I mean, literally dragging the feet. I caught one lad last week before, literally kicking a stone around my warehouse. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bored. Yeah. If you're bored, come and find me.
But then you can't talk to me like that.
Yeah. Well, you weird hour.
This will never go out if you get me started.
Yeah, I tell you what, our apprentices only last 5 minutes. This one said that to me, and some of the stuff we make the apprentice do. God,
I'll tell you now, he's the nice one. You want to see his business partner, you don't cross her.
But it is. You know what it is? It's self-indulgence, and it's an entitlement, a mentality of I'm entitled, and you're not.
Yeah.
Work for it, earn it, learn your life skills, all the stuff that we've just talked about, and then do it for yourself under your own name. And you'll be stood in my shoes saying, why are you doing that? Why are you kicking that stone around?
Yeah. My dad always said to me when I was growing up, we all did it. Dad, can I? Mum, can I? And my dad always turned around to me and said, you can have anything you want, sunshine, as long as you go out and you earn it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's not hard. And everything I've got, and the life I lead is because I've got off my backside and my alarm clock goes off at 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning.
Yeah. No matter what you're thinking about, you can or you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, listen, I need to ask you, when are you going to become the next Prime Minister?
I'm not sure I'm allowed yet. I keep having moments where I've had one too many wines and shouting at people on the internet.
I'm going to say, I find it highly entertaining, and I know for a fact that Owen follows you on the social media networks.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Oh, I'll tell you, it's right good read. But I was saying to Al, yeah,
we've seen some true colours this weekend.
Yeah,
real true colours.
Do you not think though that
say what I've been called this weekend?
We've read it, right? It begins with a C and it ends in unt, and it's fine.
It's not just that. I was also a rapist.
A rapist. Yeah, but you see, we were discussing this.
I can't post that, and you're gonna have to put a big bleep there. But I can't read that.
Yeah.
Why?
No, I know.
Eggs together. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't. But you see, the thing about the eggs and the beans is, I was talking to Al about this, and I work with a guy, and we go for breakfast in the morning at a cafe at work, and he couldn't bear having things like, the juice off the tomatoes or the beans touch his egg, which is one thing. I thought it was strange me, because I just eat my food. I don't sit and pick at it and enjoy it. But I couldn't get my head around it, but I appreciate there's a couple of people I know like that. But if that's the case, you don't have to comment on it because it's not to your taste.
No, but then what they'll do is they'll get the sausage, they'll cut the sausage in half, put it on a fork, and then dip it in the egg.
Dip it in everything, yeah. You know.
What's the difference?
And like you were saying.
I'm not being crude here, and I'm genuinely not, right? But it's all going to look far worse on the way out.
Yeah. Well, of course it is, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It'll look exactly the same as the caviar you had the night before. Yeah. And... But you see, like it amazes me where people get this. I mean, if you said something that they might have a bit of an argument or disagreement, but when you're talking food, and it's like one man's pleasure is another man's pain and things like that. Because you don't like something, you go, oh, that might be for me. Has he put anything else on it? You look at another one.
Is like it's based on a classic thing like we talked about earlier. It's got protein in it. It's got carbohydrates. It's got everything in there. It's got vegetables. It's low economy. It doesn't cost anything to cook, and it's in one pan, so you even save on the hot water to wash up.
Yeah.
And then that's what you get told for doing it. And I'm like, I did that on my night off. Saturday night, I'm supposed to be watching the football, enjoying myself, having a bottle of wine or whatever it is. And I'm writing recipes about egg and beans because you know what? Someone might fancy that in the morning.
Yeah.
That's what's in my head.
Thing is, you won't have to wash the pan. Just wipe it out with a piece of bread.
Yeah.
I'll do it for another day.
In the cupboard.
All right. Well, lick it then.
That's going back to the old student days, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, disgusting. Speaking of wine, though, what are you drinking, Simon?
I'm drinking Gavi di Gavi. It's Lidl's finest. You have to remember that this is my weekend. This is the last day of my weekend tonight, and I'm back in work tomorrow. So Monday night's weekend night. So I'm going to have that, and I'm going to have. I've actually got a steak in the freezer that I've had in there probably for about 4 months. And I'm going to have a fried egg with it and some sweet potato fries because we're being healthy. Well, that's probably not healthy, but
sweet potato fries.
That's what's happening tonight. And this is the Gavi di Gavi.
Now, just a quick question, Sam. Your chip pan, do you have a deep fat fryer or do you have a chip pan that's black on the outside but incredibly shiny on the inside? With dripping in.
My grandma used to have one of them. She did. And used to set hard and you pick the basket up and everything just came up at once.
Oh, it's brilliant. I tell you. Love it. But chips always tasted better.
Yeah, they did, I've got to be honest, I don't often do chips at home or whatever. The sweet potatoes that I'm going to put in the oven, I've cut like fries and I'll toss them in a little bit of oil and put them through the oven. So they're not chips at all. They're just like long sticks of sweet potato.
And another thing we're talking about is kebabs. Now, I'm a lover of the good doner kebab, with the chili sauce and stuff like that. So we were thinking, obviously, when things get up and running, you could do like a theme night at your restaurant where it's kebab and beer, and perhaps put a comedian on and stuff.
The Michelin guide aren't going to go in for that.
Well, no, but I mean, the thing is there's a place in Morecambe, and it's right on the beach. Archer's Farm. We'll drop the name in there. Archer's Cafe is on the site there, and they do a kebab, but it's all fresh lamb and stuff like that. And they put it together, so it's not like the big elephant's foot, and it's really tasty. And I'm saying,
gyros pita.
Oh
green kebab.
Yeah.
nice flatbread, some chicken or some pork in there, salad, chips, tzatziki, and that's a really like cool kebab. I'm not down with doner meat at all.
No, you're not.
No.
So you could do your own though.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
You know what? They'll probably lead us nicely into a secondary subject, but you could put something on like that up at the football club with the OEC.
Yeah.
It would work great.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Funnily enough, I was having a conversation about you to my dad today, just after I finished at the day job, and I was saying that without sort of blowing sunshine or anything like that, I would suggest that your cooking is one of two that I would consider my favourite, and the one thing that absolutely stands out, head and shoulders above the rest. My mouth is watering even thinking about it right now. You made us some pork belly. Pork belly is the worst cut of meat, the fattiest cut of meat you could ever come across. It is quite possibly the tastiest food I've ever eaten in my life.
It's gorgeous.
It was ridiculous. And that's sort of on the same sort of scale as doner meat, isn't it? Because it's I mean, doner meat's just made up of all the leftovers, the offal, and I get that.
Cheapest cuts are always the best to work with. You just got to have the knowledge to know what to do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like going back to what we were talking about, is they take time, and you can spend loads of money on electricity or gas and have pork belly in all night, and it's cost you half the price of a fillet steak. But by the end of it, it costs you the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a fillet steak, you just wipe its ass, show it at the grill and serve it, don't you? You don't have to cook it till it's like leather.
That's it. Listen.
It takes time. You've got to look after it, and then there's a process.
Tell us a little. We're really run out of time, Simon. Just tell us a little about a little bit about the website that you've launched today, then, and what you're planning on doing with that.
So, what it is, it's simply a website that anyone can go on wherever. I've talked to food banks. I've talked to people that get food parcels or food vouchers or don't have a great culinary expertise or a repertoire or are nervous in the kitchen. I'm trying to write 2 or 3 a day, and it's not easy doing that. It's a lot of work. But we're uploading them all to the website, and it's everyday food for everyday people.
What a catchline! What a tagline!
Yeah.
We're trying to get things in there that everyone can make and enjoy. And do you know what? If you haven't got it, leave it out.
Yeah.
If we're making rice and chips and you haven't got rice, then you probably can't leave that out.
Well, you can have the chips though.
Well, you can have chips, yeah. And that's what we're doing. All the recipes are being uploaded. We're sending them to food banks so they can print them out and put them in parcels that they've got. If a food bank, I've spoke to a couple, and if they get, for example, a pallet of butter beans delivered from someone that need using up or whatever it is, I'll write a recipe with a method, and they can go out, because I'm not being funny. If a lot of people got 4 tins of butter beans in a food hamper, they go, what am I going to do with them? But you know what? You can make a really good mash.
What's the web address?
I read that over the weekend, yeah.
What's the website address?
Hang on. I've only had it an hour.
Right, listen, we're going to get cut off here. I'm going to restart this. Are you all right?
Families with Simon.
Feeding Families
with SimonWood.co.uk.
Feeding Families with SimonWood.co.uk.